Hello class, so we are done with the chapter 1 and chapter 2 for the midterm, and we're going to explore now on the chapter 3. So the chapter 3 is about the environmental impacts of hospitality operations. And on this particular lecture, we're going to discuss on the first subtopic, the 3.1 resource consumption in hotels, restaurants, and resorts. So as the hospitality industry continues to grow, it is crucial to understand how the hotels, restaurants, and resorts affects our environment and what we can do to minimize these impacts. So let's going to examine how resource consumption, waste generation, and sustainability initiatives shape the modern hospitality operations. So globally, the hospitality industry may seem harmless, but it's actually a hidden environmental giants. Hotels contribute about 1% of global carbon emissions annually. And imagine a single 200-room hotel um, producing around 300,000 single-use plastics items every month. So this demands place a huge pressure on local water, energy, and waste systems. So, for example, in the Philippines, specifically in Boracay, before its 2018 rehabilitation under the former President Duterte, the overuse of resources by hotels and resorts led to the serious environmental problems. Example for that are the polluted waters, excessive waste, and energy shortages. So, after the rehabilitation, the government required establishment to adopt sustainability practices like proper waste segregation and also the sewage treatment. Specifically, this sewage treatment. As you can observe before 2018, the water in the Boracay Island as majority has a green color. There are many algae that is visible. But through the rehabilitation in 2018, it imposes a sewage treatment. And now it is more clear compared to the year before 2018. Also, the water is one of the most critical resources in hospitality operations. An average hotel guest uses about um, 8 times more water than a local resident. And major water intensive areas includes the rooms, pools, spas, and restaurants. So um, to address this issue, okay, hotels must adopt a water saving technologies and also community based conservation. So there are many hotels and resorts now are adopting the water saving technologies, especially now that the artificial intelligence um, majority of the company, especially in the private sector, they already use the integration of artificial intelligence. So by this year, 2025, I think majority of the hotels, especially the five-star hotels, are already adopting the water saving technologies. For example, in Cebu and also in Palawan, some eco resorts use rainwater. Okay, they call it a rainwater harvesting system, and also the gray water recycling to reduce freshwater use. Instead of using the fresh water, they recycle the rainwater. Okay, so they make some process to convert the rainwater into usable fresh water and also the gray water. Okay, gray water. It is already this is water already been used but recycled. Okay, they undergo process and they may use again. So this is really important in hotels and resorts in adapting this kind of systems. It can save also money or it can reduce their expenses. So these initiatives not only conserve water but also help support the local communities because you know the the guests and the local communities are both using the water. So just like here, roughly 8 times the guests um, are using the water compared to the local community. So if we will minimize the usage of gas, we can help the local community, okay, to avoid shortages of water. Next, the as to energy. So we're done discussing the water. As to energy, it's another major contributor to a hotel's carbon footprint, from air conditioning and laundry to lighting and kitchen equipment. Energy use is really constant. Okay, 24/7, the hotels and resorts are using the energy. So the challenge lies in balancing the guest comfort with the sustainability. If we will minimize the usage of energy, there's a tendency that the guests will not satisfied on the services that the hotel provides. So this is really a challenge to balance the comfort of the guests with the sustainability. So the solution lies in electrification, smart controls, and renewable energy. Okay, so for example, here in Bohol, in Hinan Resort, they are already started integrating solar panels for water heating and lighting systems. Their lights were produced by or help generate the light by the solar panels, also the water heating. Okay, so their water heating systems were backed up with the solar panels. Okay, so this helps reduce electricity cost and supports the province goal to transition toward renewable energy. That is a goal in our province here in Bohol to make it the companies, especially in the hospitality and tourism industry, will use the renewable energy. So it can save expenses, at the same time, it will help our environment. Next, as to waste, so we already discussed about the water, the energy, and now in the waste, it is a persistent issue in the hospitality operations. The industry contributes heavily to plastic pollution, okay, food waste, and also the textile disposal. So managing this waste through reduction and also recycling and repurposing is a key to sustainability. So we can help conserve the environment if we can reduce, recycle, and repurpose the waste produced by the guests in the hotel or resorts. Example, in Manila, large hotels like Sofitel and Shangri-La partners with the non-government organizations to donate surplus food to feeding programs. So if they have excess food or supplies in their kitchen, they have partnered with the non-government organization and they donate the foods. So it will not be wasted, but it can be utilized. Those who needs the food. Meanwhile, some resorts also in Siargao have banned plastic straws and shifted to biodegradable alternatives made from coconut or bamboo. So this is a good news. Okay? We hope that other islands also that has a tourism destination will also ban plastic straws. And instead of using the plastic straws, we can, same with the Siargao, they have an alternatives. Instead of using a plastics, the straw is made from the coconut or bamboo. Example, we have a case study here in Hilton's sustainability leadership. So the Hilton Hotel is one example. Hilton provides an inspiring model through its global sustainability program. So they have a program on their company. So they focus on food waste management, also the recycled textiles, and a company-wide plastic reduction pledge. Okay, so these initiatives demonstrates that the sustainability can be both ethical at the same time profitable. Okay, by reducing this waste, food waste, textiles and plastics. Okay, if we will reduce this waste, we can save our money and it can, add up to our profits. At the same time, this is ethical because we can also help the environment. So, example in Manila, Hilton Manila follows also the same global sustainability model. Um, Hilton is an international company, so it is not only adapted in the outside Philippines, but also Hilton Manila follows the same global sustainability model. So they use digital checks-in systems to minimize paper use and partner with local farmers for food sourcing and recycled use linens into reusable cleaning cloths. Okay, so I also observed some of the hotels when they have the check-in, they are still using the paper. So every hour, okay, they are using the paper and it will become a waste later on. But for the Hilton, they're using a digitalized check-in systems, so it can reduce paper waste. Okay, some innovative resorts are turning waste into a valuable resources. Okay, for example, the cooking oil is converted to biodiesel. Okay, also there is an they call it organic waste into compost and leftover soap into a new bars for communities. Okay, instead of throwing the soap, right, um, to anyone that have tried to check in any hotel, so we cannot consume totally the soap. Okay, so other hotels, they gather all the leftover soap and they create a new bars. Okay, and then they give it to the communities. So this circular approach supports local economies and also it reduces environmental impacts. Example here in our province in Bohol Bee Farm, they practice zero waste operations by composting food scraps for their organic farms. So they have their own farm and they use the food scraps for decompose the food scraps and use it for the organic farming. Okay. Similarly, the Club Paradise in Coron, they also recycles used soap into hygiene kits and they donated it to the local schools, especially on the primary schools. Okay, so that's example of the initiatives done by the hotels and resorts. Modern travelers are becoming more conscious of the sustainability. So this is the latest trend. Okay, around 83% of the travelers say they prefer eco-friendly accommodations. So they find and eco-friendly accommodation. So this shift pushes hotels and investors to adopt green innovations and sustainable certifications. That is why there are many hotels now and resorts are adopting this kind of green innovations and sustainable certifications. Why? Because 83% of the travelers wants to book in such company or hotels. Example, the Philippines also, the Department of Tourism or the DOT promotes the sustainable tourism campaigns and in encouraging resorts to gain certifications like they call it ANAHAW. Okay, so when the once the resorts have these certifications like ANAHAW, they have this like the Philippine equivalent of eco levels for green hotels. Okay, so the resorts have this kind of eco labels. Okay, so it attracts customers or it attracts guests that wants to book on the eco-friendly establishment. So this initiative influences booking choices, especially among foreign tourists. So the hospitality industry must set ambitious targets to reduce emissions by 66% by 2030 and 90% by 2050. So this is the goal of the hospitality industry to reduce the emissions, the carbon footprints. Okay, so smart technologies like IoT or Internet of Things, sensors, and building management systems, it helps optimize resource use while partnerships strengthen collective sustainability action. Okay, so the Philippine Hotel Owners Associations, if you are familiar with that, the PHOA, the Philippine Hotel Owners Association, they have collaborated with the Department of Energy to implement energy audits and they promote the use of smart systems for efficient electricity use in hotels nationwide. So there's a partnership, the Philippine Hotels Owners Association and the Department of Energy. They have an audit, energy audit to the different establishment if they are using the smart systems for the purpose of efficient electricity use in hotels nationwide. And we are here in the last slide. To conclude, the hospitality operations greatly impact our environment, but they also hold immense potential for change. So, integrating sustainability in design and operations leads to a long-term savings, okay, savings of money, resources, resilience, and guest trust. Okay, so every hotel or resorts, no matter the size, 5 star, 2 star, 1 star, can be a model for sustainable tourism. So in Bohol and Palawan, many small resorts are proving that sustainability can coexist with profitability. So examples for that are using solar panels, local materials like the bamboo straw, okay, or the coconut straw, and eco-friendly waste systems while still attracting international guests. So we're done with the um, 3.1 resource consumption in hotels, resorts, and restaurants. And don't forget to answer the online quiz. Bye bye.